Hey guys, sorry I wasn't able to upload a video on Wednesday, but this video is coming to you in 4 parts. Here's a picture of my finds from this weekend. I'm sorry I couldn't get you a better picture, but I actually found over $2 in change. Yay! No interesting metal objects were found. Part 2. Earlier this week, my boss decided to give me some coins, some old coins he had in his collection. The first is from 1906. I don't know how good the quality of the video is because I'm recording on my Mac, but it's actually what's called a Liberty nickel. It's a 5-cent Liberty coin. You see the 5 here? From the United States of America, a 1906 coin. There's no silver in here, but the current value on eBay, it's about $2, maybe a bit less than that. But very cool. And I have another one here from 1910. Again, these my boss gave me from work, so that's very cool to have people know what you like and to be like, hey, look, I have these, I'm not using them, I don't really want them, you take them. And I'm like, oh my god, this is so cool. Part 3. I just finished this Liseys story by Stephen King, and I just want to share with you, if you lift up the jacket, this is very cool. I mean, look at the trees, look at the plants, look at the flowers. This is so cool, and it says baby love. To be quite honest, when I started reading this book, I really wasn't that interested in it at all. It started off really slow, and I had to get past the first 200 pages to be like, this book is actually kind of alright. And by the end of the book, I was like, oh my god, I want so much more. I want so much more. The book centers around a character named Lisey, and her husband has recently died. Her husband was a famous writer, and after his death, the crazy people, what they call the inkunks, would come in and ask her to take a look through her husband's things to try to find unpublished works and other writings that he's done. And one of these crazy people tried to kill Lisey. And what Lisey does is go off to another world that her husband had introduced her to while he was alive. And this world was called Moon. And Moon is actually the world that's depicted on the cover of this book. But yeah, that's mainly what the book is about. Lisey trying to get over her husband's death, all the crazy people trying to get her husband's work. Oh, and it's also about her sister, who's a cutter. Her sister cuts herself, and yeah, she's also an important part of the story. And this one crazy guy that really tries to hurt Lisey in order to get what he wants from her. And yeah, that's all I can say about the book without ruining the ending. So the 4th part, I just wanted to look back because it's the 6th month of the year, and so half the year is through. And I just wanted to see what did I read so far. And I have been keeping a list. One of my New Year's resolutions was to keep a list of all the books I've been reading, so I've been doing that. And it's not too bad. So far, I finished 13 stories. Or at least what I call 13 stories. It wasn't really 13. It was actually a bit more if you count Poe's short stories. The section of Edgar Allan Poe, I read 6 of his short stories. So it's actually a bit more if you divide those up that way. But overall, it was 6. It was 13. And 13 is a really good number because if I go at the same speed going forward, I'm expected to read 26 books this year, which is very exciting for me because that's a lot of books, at least for me, in a year to read. That's like 1 book every 2 weeks or 2 books every month about. Just to recap, my first book was Different Seasons by Stephen King, another collection of short stories. The Science of Superstition by Bruce M. Hood. Salem's Lot by Stephen King. A Guide to the Carnivorous Plants of the World by Gordon Cheers. Anywhere Out of the World by Nicholas Del Banco. Superstition by Robert L. Parks. Letter to a Christian Nation by Sam Harris. The 6 Short Stories by Edgar Allan Poe. Night Shift by Stephen King. An Anthropologist on Mars by Oliver Sacks. The Odyssey by Homer, and Lisey's Story by Stephen King. I actually have already started the next book I'm reading, and maybe you guys have read this. It's The Stand by Stephen King. It's a pretty big book. It's like over 1,000 pages. I got this version. There was another version in the store, but I got this version that had more pages. And it's an interesting story as to why I got this version. When the book was originally published, the publisher told King, hey, you have to cut some of the pages out because for what we want to sell this book for, there's too many pages. We're going to waste too much money printing out the books than what we're going to be selling it for. So you have to cut some pages out. And he did. He cut a lot. From the original manuscript that he had, he cut about 400 pages out of the book when it was first published. This is the complete, uncut, and illustrated version. So after the book had been very successful, people started asking him for the full version. You know, where's the full version of The Stand? We want to read it. And so he decided to release the full version. And I guess he's still left a few pages cut off that he didn't really like. He went back to sift through some of them, but most of it is all here. And now this is like a huge version with more content. It's the same story, but a lot more content. So yeah, when I'm done with this, be prepared for a review. I'm going through it quite quickly. I've only been reading it for 2 days. And so perhaps in 2 weeks, if my averages are correct, I'll be giving a review of this. And now that it's done, I guess I have to say goodbye. See you guys. Bye-bye.